This is the Amor al Migrante podcast, Love for the Migrant, a project of Estrella del Paso, the largest provider of free immigration legal services in West Texas and southern New Mexico. This podcast is coming to you from El Paso, Texas, hosted by Sandra Ramirez and Cristian Trujillo. Please subscribe to the Amor al Migrante podcast to be alerted about new episodes and visit www.estrelladelpaso.org to support our work on the southern border. Hello and welcome to the relaunch of the Amor al Migrante podcast. I'm Sandra Ramirez.
And I'm Cristian Trujillo. This podcast is intended to bring you the latest developments related to immigration from the border, ensuring the impact felt through the country. One major issue making headlines right now is the DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
Unafraid! Unafraid!
Undocumented and unafraid. It has become the war chant in the fight to protect DACA, a fight largely spearheaded by United We Dream, a nonprofit organization that has been advocating for Dreamers for over a decade. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, was established in 2012 under President Barack Obama. The policy protected undocumented immigrant youth who were brought to the U.S. as children from being deported. The Trump administration tried to end the policy in 2017, and DACA has been in and out of the courts since. Happening October 10th, DACA is back in court for oral arguments in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, and the outcome of this hearing could take this fight all the way to the Supreme Court.
Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning us with us today. This is a special relaunch for the podcast intended to bring you the latest developments related to immigration from the border, and not only the border, but across the U.S. Ensuring, we're here to share the impact that is filling through our country right now in the times that immigration has become such a hot topic. One of the major issues that we have dealing with right now, and actually today, is DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. And today we have an amazing guest. We have Juliana Macedo do Nascimento. Thank you, Juliana, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Juliana. And so you are a member of the United We Dream team. And so United We Dream and the Home is Here Coalition has really been at the forefront of advocating for DACA for years now. So can you talk to us a little bit about what is happening in this hearing and what we can expect from it?
Yes. Well, happy to be here. Thank you both so much. I think we can take just a step back just to recognize that this is actually, I think, the third or fourth time that DACA is at this specific court. So I'm here in New Orleans. It's for a hearing at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, right? This time around, the case is being heard on the merits of the policy itself. So it will be whether DACA is found lawful or not. And it all hinges really on the executive, like the president's authority to be able to have discretion over prosecutions, right? So all that means is that DACA at its core is basically the government saying, we don't have the capacity or we don't have any interest in actually prosecuting your case and deporting you. So we're going to defer your deportation for deferred action, and we'll for 2 years. And here's a work permit while we do it. And in 2 years, you renew it. And the president has the authority to do that. It's called prosecutorial discretion, right? And so is what is at the core of this case, and what the Fifth Circuit is trying to decide. Now, this time around, in this case alone, this is the second time we come to the Fifth Circuit, because the first time we were here, it was over how the program was created in a memo from DHS, from the Department of Homeland Security. And since then, the Biden administration has actually gone through the rulemaking process, and now DACA is an actual regulation from the federal government. And so it really didn't change the policy at all, but it went through the process. And so the Fifth Circuit decided that they had to send it back to the federal district court and then come back to the Fifth Circuit just to decide on the regulation itself. So that's where we are. It's about the lawfulness of the program as a regulation of the federal government.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Enjoying this podcast? Just a quick reminder, in 2023, Estrella El Paso helped over 7,000 clients with nearly all of the cases being free. This early giving season, every bit of support helps us to continue this essential work. Don't forget to show your support by donating at estrelladelpaso.org or visiting our El Paso Giving Day page, link below. And that's all. Back to the podcast. Oh, that's, it's always insane that stake of so many lives and futures are just, a few days or a few hours to be put or be jeopardized, right, by our government and decisions that have been made before. So in your perspective, Juliana, what are the possible outcomes that you see, and what is it that is at stake right now for those DACA recipients?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like I mentioned, this is the second time that the Fifth Circuit hears this case. And like I mentioned, the policy really didn't change between a memo and a regulation. And so the Fifth Circuit has already found it to be unlawful, right? I think that this time around, they really want to cross their T's and dot their I's, or dot their I's and cross their T's. And we would love to see them, find the light and take the correct approach here. We know that DACA is right and legal. We know the administration has the authority to create such a program. But unfortunately, I think that what we can expect is for the Fifth Circuit to be kind of consistent, because they have been pretty consistent in their anti-immigrant, not just in this case, but in other immigration-related cases. We can expect them to find DACA unlawful once again.
And I know, Juliana, we've talked a lot about just in general, like in these circles of immigration related work, and there consistently is support for DACA recipients because of the contributions to their communities, their contributions to the economy, their contributions to the different professional environments that they work in, educational backgrounds. Can you talk a little bit about that human impact for DACA recipients?
Yes, like we mentioned at the top, I'm a DACA recipient myself. My brother's a DACA recipient, and my parents are still undocumented. I think that speaking from personal experience, I can say that DACA has allowed me to actually have the job that I dreamed of, be able to help my family, to send money to my family in Brazil. We, DACA recipients, there's about 500,000 of us in the program. We are, not so young anymore. So I know that there's a lot of conversations around dreamers and immigrant youth, but I'm 38 myself. The USCIS just put out numbers saying that only 100,000 of us are under 30 now. So it's all that to say is that we are college graduates or not, but we are in the workforce. We've been working for over a decade, right? DACA is over 12 years old. So we have families that depend on us. We are homeowners. We contribute to the economy. So we know that there's billions of dollars really that the U.S. would lose out on if we were to lose our work permits, in taxes, in the economy, in we are consumers, right, and all of that. The impact, it is not just economic either, right? Because the thing is, we have protections from deportation. So what it would mean if DACA ended is that there's now 500,000 people who no longer have those protections. And unfortunately, we don't know what next year is going to look like. What we do know is that there are promises of mass deportations out there, and we recognize these attacks at relief programs like DACA to be just that, a preparation to create that pipeline, right? And it'll be about family separations because, like I mentioned, we have children, they're U.S. citizens. It would mean really devastating consequences to American communities.
No, and now that you mentioned, Juliana, is that you as a deputy director of federal advocacy with United We Dream, it's a perfect example, right? Because many of people in America think like, DACA recipients, they just stay here, they don't bring anything to the society, to the community. But look, you were able to go ahead and as a DACA recipient to have a charge, a position of importance, and give a voice to thousands of DACA recipients that are just followed through. And like you mentioned, I mean, you've been for years, you've been paying your taxes, you've been contributing to the economy, you've been helping those families in need. Uh, so I think that's something that we need to really point out for people to understand and see that DACA recipients are just as part of the country as any U.S. citizen, as any legal resident, because we do have the same contributions as they do in our country.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
So I
Thank
know that the decision won't come immediately, right? So DACA the hearing will happen on Thursday, on October 10th, and my understanding is that that decision won't come immediately. But when it does come, how long do you think that would take? And what on one end, I imagine they say yes, we can uphold DACA as lawful, right? And then on the other end, they say, no, we've decided that it's not. What happens in either of those scenarios? Like, what happens next?
Right. So next, depending on the decision, like you mentioned, either side can appeal to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court will decide whether to take the case or not. Right. So those are two steps. I think that we also have to watch out for the state that's on renewals for DACA recipients right now. The Fifth Circuit has kept a stay on renewals, meaning that they've kept renewals alive while initial applications are not being processed. So the Fifth Circuit also has to decide whether they keep the stay while the cases appeal to the Supreme Court or not. In case that they don't, then that means DACA could end right then and there. And then if the Supreme Court decides not to take up the case on appeal, then that will have been that, right? The DACA would be dead. The way that Texas has talked about ending the program in the past has been through just allowing or work permits to expire. So it wouldn't be all at once, but little by little, within 2 years, all 500,000 folks would be without protections and without a work permit.
Do you think that that's a motivator for people who are eligible to renew to do that as quickly as they are able to?
Yes. I mean, I renewed mine just this year. Depending how this case goes, I'll renew it every year if I have to. The thing is that it's not kind of, it is expensive. It's over $500 to renew it. Every time I do, I have to pay the US government, and a lot of folks can't do that. It's just kind of prohibitive in a way that a lot of people don't realize. And I would say, yes, we are encouraging folks to renew and renew early if you have to. We would also encourage USCIS to process early renewals. And one of the asks that we've had of USCIS is to have or grants, they call them DACA grants, be consecutive, meaning that if I renew early right now, as soon as I get a new one, my current one expires. So it doesn't wait until the end of the current one. It expires the current one and it starts a new one for 2 years. If it was consecutive, right, then we wouldn't lose that time. So we would love for folks to, we encourage folks to renew. We never know what's going to happen. But we also would love the government to be able to help us out a little bit here.
And now you being in New Orleans, Juliana, what is it that you have seen when it comes to support, when it comes to the people? Have you heard like, rumors, or what is it? How you see the emotions there being?
Oh, we are actually really excited to be here. We have over 300 people coming to our action. We'll all be right there in front of the not the Supreme Court, the Fifth Circuit, and we will pack the court. We want those judges. We know how they think, but we want them to look us in the eyes as they talk about our lives, right? They need to see that their decisions have real life consequences. So 300 of us here, not all of us will fit in the courtroom, but we'll be outside, we'll have a rally, we'll have a press conference, and then at night we'll have a vigil. We really want to bring awareness to this. We really want folks to know. I know that because DACA has been in and out of the courts for so long that folks are a little numb to us when we say DACA is in danger, DACA is under threat, but we really need people to feel the urgency here. We need Congress to feel the urgency. We need the White House to feel the urgency, because we really need to protect. And I'll mention, like, not just DACA recipients. Like we said, initial applications have been closed for the most part, except for 6 months in there, since 2017. We estimate that 100,000 undocumented students graduate high school and would become eligible for DACA every year. That's over 600,000 people that would have, been eligible for the policy and have not been able to benefit from it. Not only that, but DACA is outdated. The truth is that one of the requirements is that we prove presence in the United States in 2007. A lot of immigrant youth were not born in 2007.
Yes.
They're not even eligible. So the policy, even if it was alive and well, still wouldn't cover the people that it was meant to anymore. That's why we're like 38 years old now, right? And they're
still young.
And only less than 100,000 of us are under 30, because the policy just didn't keep up with the population it's supposed to help. So we really want folks. That's what we're here for. It's not just for DACA recipients. It's not for a policy. It's for people. It's for the people that it's supposed to help. It's for our families and it's for our communities. So in that we find strength and we find hope, and that's why we're excited to be here, even though it's for a terrible reason. Let's be honest, right? But New Orleans is great.
Nice.
It really is a super inspiring movement, though. I'm sorry, Christian. It's a really inspiring movement that a lot of people get behind, and it's a very energetic crowd of supporters who really have joined y'all and have chosen to back this particular issue. So, I mean, congratulations for accomplishing that and for getting so many people involved and paying attention to this.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. we need more. So please, everyone who's listening, join us.
For sure. And I was going to ask you, actually, for those that are away from New Orleans, right? What is it that you think we could do to support you guys? What was it, like through social media, through making calls? What is it that you think is the best way for us to support us, to those that are away from New Orleans?
Thank you. Excellent question. Yes, we are encouraging everyone tomorrow to call Congress and call the White House to tell them that they need to come up with permanent solutions, not just for DACA recipients, but for our entire undocumented community. You can text Home is Here to 78757 to be connected. And through there, we'll let you know what numbers to call, we'll connect you with Congress, with your congressperson, we'll connect you to the White House phones, and folks can get involved. We'll also be doing a lot of social media. So if folks can go to like United We Dream, we don't have a Home is Here handle, that's our coalition, but come to United We Dream. It's at United We Dream on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And we'll be sharing a lot of content tomorrow. So if you can help us amplify it, that would be amazing. So again, text Home is Here to 78757, and then go on our social media at United We Dream.
Perfect. We'll definitely, you can count on us to uplift that and encourage our followers to do the same, to make sure that this is something that people are talking about and that they stay talking about, right? Like the conversation needs to continue well beyond well beyond the hearing. So thank you so much, Juliana, for joining us, and giving us this kind of update on what's happening. DACA is definitely something that we're going to be watching very closely, waiting on those developments, and just doing what we can, really, for overall immigration reform. Right, as you mentioned, it's not only DACA. If we had an updated system, then fewer people would find themselves in these positions. Right, where we're relying on these programs.
Exactly. No, thank you. Happy to be here, and I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
Absolutely. We'll include all of the information, the handles for United We Dream on the description of this podcast. Remember to subscribe to Amor Migrante podcast so that you get those alerts when the episodes come out. And we look forward to checking in with you soon, Juliana, with some good news.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.